For over 2 decades, my family believed I was just a quiet mother sitting behind a boring desk doing simple office work. They never knew I spent 15 years operating in top secret special forces units doing dangerous, covert missions across the globe. Everything changed the afternoon my loud Green Beret brother-in-law dragged me onto a grappling mat at a housewarming party to mock me in front of 40 guests. My name is Valerie, and at 41 years old, I lived a deliberate second life. While my younger sister Chloe lit up every room she entered with her bright charm, I remained the invisible sibling who faded into the background. I raised my 6-year-old daughter, Tessa, in a quiet home and kept my military background wrapped in complete silence. My father was a quiet diesel mechanic who spent long cold days fixing engines in his shop without ever complaining or seeking praise. He taught me early in life that meaningful work does not require an audience or applause. When I enlisted in the military at 18, my father gripped my shoulder tightly and reminded me that silent effort still matters even if nobody notices. I took his advice to heart and excelled, far beyond what anyone in my hometown ever imagined. By 2011, I assessed into an elite Spec Ops Raider unit carrying out high-stakes close quarters combat missions in dark places. I earned medals and bore physical injuries that I never explained to my family, preferring to let them think. I filled out routine supply forms. When my father passed away, my mother struggled to keep up with growing medical expenses and household bills. Every month, I quietly sent a portion of my military pay to cover those expenses. While my mother proudly told neighbors she managed on her own, I let her hold on to that pride because our family preferred taking help silently rather than admitting any hardship out loud. Things shifted when my sister Chloe married Brock, who served as an Army Special Forces Green Beret. Brock loved dominating conversations by recounting brutal training courses and survival stories while constantly pointing out how soft my life was. He frequently poked fun at my desk job while the rest of the dinner table chuckled along, and I quietly nodded without saying a single word. Over the years, those casual jabs hardened into a permanent family label that marked me as the fragile administrative sister. Brock insisted that real soldiers endured severe cold and hunger while someone like me would crumble in his world. I watched my young daughter, Tessa, absorb those cruel jokes, and I swallowed my pride, repeatedly believing that staying silent was a sign of true strength. The confrontation arrived during a sunny spring afternoon at a housewarming party hosted by Chloe and Brock, surrounded by neighbors and military friends. Brock unrolled a massive grappling mat on the backyard grass, claiming he wanted to teach the young kids a few self-defense moves. Soon his eyes locked onto me at the edge of the lawn, and he called out my name loudly. Brock invited me onto the mat, with a smug grin assuring the crowd he would go easy on someone who was just a delicate mother. Chloe laughed beside the cooler and urged me not to ruin my nails while 40 guests turned to watch. Exhausted after years of accepting their dismissive comments, I set down my drink and walked calmly onto the mat. Brock charged forward aggressively, attempting a fast takedown to show off for his military friends. My instincts took over in a fraction of a second as I sidestepped his rush, caught his arm, and executed a flawless restraint hold. Within 6 seconds, Brock went completely limp, and I carefully guided his head down so it would not strike the hard ground before releasing him gently. A stunned silence fell over the entire backyard as Brock slowly regained consciousness on the grass. An older veteran in the crowd named Hank Vance suddenly stepped forward and ordered the other men to stand down after recognizing my exact combat technique. Hank looked at me with profound respect, realizing in seconds what my own relatives had failed to see over 20 long years. I collected my daughter, Tessa, and left the gathering before the shocked guests could formulate an explanation. During the drive home, Tessa innocently asked how I knew how to put her uncle to sleep so fast. Her innocent question made me realize that by hiding my true self to maintain comfort, I had also deprived my own child of knowing who her mother really was. That night, I spoke with my former teammate, Nora, who helped me see that hiding my past was not humility, but fear. I decided to stop funding the false narrative that allowed my family to treat me like a punchline. I wrote a clear, dignified letter to my family announcing the end of my silent financial aid while attaching a brief official summary of my military record. The document detailed my rank as Master Sergeant alongside my service as an elite raider, recipient of a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart, my senior leader. Master Sergeant Miller confirmed that presenting the plain facts was the kindest way to let them confront the truth. Predictably, Brock called me furious about the embarrassment he suffered while I remained calm and refused to argue. Word of the incident spread quickly through local veteran networks, causing Brock to face intense scrutiny from peers who respected my actual military credentials. Chloe called me in tears, realizing how many years she had blindly accepted a false image of my life. My mother brought over an old box containing my early military photos that my late father had cherished in secret. A few weeks later, Brock came to my home deeply humbled. After Hank Vance explained the true significance of my combat honors and my gentle control during the match, Brock offered a sincere apology, acknowledging his years of arrogance and disrespect. We shared an honest conversation about moving forward with mutual respect rather than lingering resentment and false assumptions. By early summer, our family gathered once again in the backyard for a warm, quiet dinner, without any posturing or boastful games. Brock proudly displayed my framed military citation on his wall and formally introduced me to guests with genuine honor and respect. My daughter Tessa beamed with pride, telling her cousins that her mother was a brave person who handled the hardest jobs. Looking around that peaceful table, I felt a profound sense of closure and quiet strength settle over my heart. I realized that true worth does not need loud validation or aggressive defense against those who misunderstand you. When you stop participating in the false stories others write about your life, you give everyone the space to see the truth and honor who you truly are.